Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Ethan,
This is Rick.
and today we have a mega update on the game found of DC Superheroes United right here on Roster United. Very exciting things, am I right?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. A lot going on here. A little Pennyworth's post. I think first we probably owe a little bit of apology. It's been a little while since we recorded. We mentioned before we were on the road. Ethan's done an episode. I've done some solo episodes. Then we got sick with the COVID. Kind of came back.
We did.
Just kind of knocked us off on our rear ends here. But we're back to give everybody an update with 3 days left in the campaign. Definitely a bunch going on since then. We'll do a rundown of the stretch goals, the expansions that have come out since we've last chatted. Our goal is to do definitely a podcast every day for the rest of the campaign, so we give you up-to-date news as it comes out. We're getting ready for Gen Con. We'll have some stuff. It's just an exciting time. But first, I want to go through the stats real quick, and then maybe run down a bunch of some of the pledge goals, and then maybe you'll get through some of the expansions for us. But right now we're at $1,933,027 with 8,392 backers. So definitely some of these expansions coming out finally driven the money up. That is for sure. And that is as of basically 1 a.m. Sunday, June 28th, here on the East Coast from where we're broadcasting from. So definitely a gigantic gain here. A couple things we definitely expect pretty soon is the all-in pledge level to be able to come in to simplify it. A lot of folks, just kind of add as they go. Others wait until that all-in comes out, and we know what the final tally is going to be to get all the expansions. The last time we had spoken, we were waiting for Talia al Ghul, which was a good $700,000 ago to come out. We've just been slammed and been sick. So our apologies there, but we're basically at, since then, we've had a few stretch goals and some very popular characters. Justice League team deck, and then, of course, a lot of folks were really excited about Swamp Thing. He came out. We'll get into depth in a couple of these that we're excited about, and then we'll also come back and do one after the campaign's over and get into some of the depth that we've seen. But Swamp Thing's, pretty popular character, well-known, basically can control nature. Really, a lot of folks are looking to him. The next one that came out after him was one that was really popular for me because, I was in and out of comics when I was a kid. I couldn't really buy them, but one thing that I really got into, it was actually in the news. I remember on TV was the death of Superman, and there was, the comics with Doomsday came and Superman died. He was like one of the few heroes that had never ever died in the comics. This was the early '90s. He dies, and then there was this Funeral of a Friend series of comics where they did the funeral for Superman. It was like 10 comics just on storylines around that. And then he came back, you thought. And there were 4 superheroes. Each one had one of the core titles of the Superman comics, and one of them was the Cyborg Superman. And he was part robot, part looked like Superman. Supposedly had the Superman DNA when they tested his human side. He said he didn't remember what happened to him. And you find out the whole time he's a bad guy. Spoiler alert. 40 years spoiler alert. 30 years spoiler alert. He's a bad guy, and he was pretending to be Superman so that he could basically end his reputation. And another one of those bad guys that are one that thought he actually thought he was Superman was the Eradicator, which was basically a thing, and he's one of the henchmen in this one. He comes with several henchmen. So anyway, I get into that one a little bit because he's kind of cool for me. Real sentimentality there. After that, we come up with Ally Mode, was another stretch goal. That's pretty cool. It lets you play with 2 heroes without running 2 decks. So you can be Superman and Batman, but instead of running Superman deck and the Batman deck on your turns, the ally mode kind of tells you how those cards are going to play. Then we had a mixture of popular and off-the-wall characters. We had Arm Fall Off Boy, which I'll be honest, never heard of him ever.
No.
His arms actually detach off the mini, and you can, quote-unquote, throw them into other locations, and they can do things there. Then we had Deadshot, who's pretty cool. He's a purple character, of course. I believe he's part of the Suicide Squad, which is going to be something we're going to get into in some of these expansions here. Is coming up as well. The expansions are finally some of the stuff we've been waiting for. Very, very much sure. I don't know if we want to take a break from the stretch goals. Do you want to go through an expansion or two that has come out since our last discussion?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, since our last update, and again, we apologize for that, but there has been quite a bit of amazing expansions out there that has definitely pushed the campaign to almost $2 million. Let's get into one of them. One of the bigger ones that has come out lately is the Gotham City expansion for $35. Add on to your pledge. You get, in the Gotham City expansion, Nightwing and Batgirl as obviously part of the Bat family. You'll get those two heroes. You'll get the support character of our very own Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah, he does our entry. He does our opening.
That's amazing. How amazing is that? So you'll have him. He's a gray miniature, obviously, support character. We'll learn a little bit more about that later. There's also the duo mode characters, or the anti-heroes that are the purple miniatures. And we have one of the characters I wanted, Red Hood, and, of course, Catwoman. Those two are the main anti-heroes. You'll also have your straight villain, just one villain here, the red miniature Bane, which I think is amazing. How cool is that, finally, having
Hopefully
Bane
they do
there?
Bane just right. In the comics, Bane was kind of a mastermind. In the movies, they've kind of made him... the newer movies kind of mastermind him a little bit.
Yeah.
But, he was always kind of somebody else's stooge.
Yeah, and
in the movies.
Yeah, of course, and it's kind of cool to see him. He looks really buff, obviously, because that's exactly how he is with the venom and everything.
And that was another nostalgic comic, because that same time Superman was doing his thing, Bane was orchestrating where he broke Batman's back, who couldn't Bruce Wayne's back, and they changed the Batman mantle to another character for a while. Anyway, I'm getting
no, absolutely, cool. Absolutely, because these are the actual characters you want to get into, right? And basically, throughout the game, he's gonna flip his master plan cards that are gonna give him venom usage, and that is gonna basically just let him deal more and more damage to you, or obviously to the locations, or however that plays out in the game. So the more you take to defeat him, the stronger he'll be. So that'll be very interesting to see how actually tough he is towards the end there. We also have some of the crowdfunding exclusives that you can only get if you get it from the crowdfunding website here. You'll add on Batwoman and another support character, Commissioner Gordon. How awesome is that? That is really neat. Just the small little details there really complete the game. Batwoman obviously being a huge character these days especially. So I can't wait for that. Also, Batwoman, just looking at a couple of her pictures here, has a lot of equipment cards, probably just as much as Batman does, which makes total sense. So I can't wait to play with her. That'll be very, very fun. And of course, Commissioner Gordon. Who doesn't like Commissioner Gordon, right? That is amazing. That is one of the expansions. So many things there to talk about, truly, and to be anticipated about for the next year while I try to play through it all, right? But we also have another expansion. Just when you think what else there could be, there's something else, something very amazing. We have the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad includes Harley Quinn, King Shark, Bloodsport, Rick Flag, Peacemaker, and Polka Dot Man. Obviously, these characters are anti-heroes, or dual... what are they called again? Dual hero character? Dual mode characters, excuse me. Dual mode characters that are all purple, so they can be played as both good or bad characters. How awesome is that? And what I really like about this is called the Suicide Mode, which they're basically taking a little hint off the Sinister Six mode, where you can play against all of them at the same time, trying to find their weaknesses and then defeating them during the game. Very fun. Obviously, it's going to be very challenging to do this. I've played with the Sinister Six. Definitely a very fun to play with. One of my favorite expansions. I assume the Suicide Squad will will add different features to this expansion that will make it so much fun. So I do recommend having this expansion, or if you're going to get the all-in pledge, you're going to get it, and this is definitely an expansion you're going to play with quite a bit. In the Suicide Squad expansion, not only will you get the access where you defeat all of those 6 characters at the same time, there's also this other feature that was very interesting to me called the villain tag teams. This is an actual dashboard where 2 villains will be on this dashboard, and instead of having 6 kind of mediocre, hard characters, you'll have 2 pretty strong villains to fight against, making it a little different and a little fun. I assume these will be match-maked, right? So you might have different sort of matches and, type of characters to play against. And obviously this is also looking into the future where maybe you can mix and match any villains. That's what they did with the last multiverse expansion, where now you can play not just with the Sinister Six, but now with like 20, 30 other villains and mix and match with them.
Crazy.
That's really neat. That's really neat. And the villain tag team is just 2 villains. One side of them has the main villain, while the other side has the accomplice villain. So that's going to be very, very interested to play. It says here that their master plan cards are shuffled together in a single deck, and their threat cards are distributed randomly among the locations. So obviously every game, even if you're playing with the same match, is going to be totally different. That is really, really cool. Obviously, a lot of these characters are also pretty popular as well these days with the movies and things like that. So I can't wait to see how they all work together with the team deck that is also included in this match. Of course, the team deck where you do certain things and it helps you progress through the game. Obviously, the Suicide Squad team deck is only played when you're playing them as the heroes, just so you're all aware. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they work together. There's also an interesting challenge mode that I saw here that really caught my eye. I don't really play with a whole lot of the challenges, but this one did seem really interesting. Basically, the small description is the challenge is called Nano Bombs, and the description that it gives us says that there's basically a micro explosive inserted in your head, and you have to do exactly what the card says.
Does that come with the campaign?
I wouldn't back it up.
Is it like a special box?
It shoots you in the head,
that's
yes.
all in, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I don't like that at all. But in the cards, right? Fantasy Rise, right? We basically there'll be this micro explosive in your head, and if you don't do what the card says, you pop. Explodes. I don't know if that means you immediately end the game or something like that, but obviously something bad happens that you don't want it to happen. So, for example, there's one card here. I'll just read it quickly. It says here, by the end of your next hero turn, after any end of turn effects, you must defeat or rescue or rescue, any combination of 3 or more thugs and or civilians in a single turn to discard this card. Otherwise, the nanobomb goes off. So you have to do these challenges throughout the entire game. I think one of them flips right after the another, and you just have to keep completing them. If you don't, you automatically lose the game. That is really, really neat, and of course, also makes it really intense, I think. So that's going to be really cool to check out. And those are just 2. We do have another expansion, but we'll go through some of the stretch goals from the game found. Take it away.
Yeah, so getting back into some of the stretch goals here, and then a couple of expansions that we have remaining. So after Deadshot, we had Ares, the god of war, famous, I believe a pretty famous antagonist of Wonder Woman, and her being a daughter of the gods, and the Aphrodite as well. He's against her and the Amazonians, so he's pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing him come out. He's got Phobos and Deimos as his henchmen. He only has 2 threat cards flanking him, but they're a part of his plan, and he uses those back and forth quite a bit. So that's pretty cool. You got to kind of save people and stop people. He loves to overflow. It's going to be pretty awesome. After that, we have Satana. She basically was a magician's daughter who became a real magician, like wizard in essence. She's a very powerful character in the comic books. She's a good character, Blue, so she'll be helping you out as a hero. Then we get good old Reverse Flash, one of the Flash's famous villains against him. Basically, Edward Fawn is who he was, real famous. Basically became obsessed with the Flash and was able to kind of turn himself into one using the Speed Force. Of course, like all Speed Force characters who can advance through time, it says if you really want to beat Reverse Flash, you have to beat him 3 games in a row. That's pretty cool
neat.
little turn. So you have to keep playing him each
Little campaign
time.
there.
The problem is every time you play him and you win, the next game he's faster, which means his movement is increased. And that means his master plan deck is smaller. So he's doing his plan faster each time you fight him.
Oh, that's neat.
So it shortens the game each round. You got to beat it quicker.
It reminds me of Apocalypse when you're trying to play those little mini games with him, and the more you don't do well or the more you do, it affects the next game and it makes Apocalypse stronger. That's exactly what they're doing there. That's really neat.
It's pretty cool. So kind of neat, kind of nice little thing. They do such a good job with. It's a simple game. Not a lot of huge mechanics, but they just do such a good job of sucking the theme out every time. The next 2 pledges I'll kind of go through together. It was Stargirl and Stripe. I'm not a huge, got a lot of background with them. Stargirl basically, the current version that's in this game, she found an old costume and a special, looks like some kind of post. Excuse me, I know I'm reading that terrible, but she found some kind of special relic thing that she could ride and use to fight with, and gave her powers. And her stepdad was a previous kind of robotic superhero, or he had a special armor called Stripe. So she's Stargirl and Stripe. He used to protect the old Stripe, was married to her. Now he protects his stepdaughter. And he's got powers. And when basically one of the things is they synergize when you play. So when he moves in the game, he can take her with him every time. That's part of it.
That's neat.
Then we got next pledge level was Batcave and Batgear.
Ooh.
So we got the Batcave location that can be used in the game. Interestingly enough, can only pick 2 spots for civilians or heroes. It says at the end of the turn, if you're in the Batcave, if there are no villains here, you may discard 1 card to flip one of your hero cards face up in the storyline. Or if you're Batman, you remove from the game one of your equipment cards to take one of your not chosen ones. So it lets you kind of gear up. If you're visiting the Batcave, you can switch out. Because now there's Bat Gear. You have the Bat Computer, which lets you read the next card in the Master Plan deck for anybody who's a Batman family. You have the Bat Suit, of course, which gives you, a bunch of extra bonuses. If you're Robin, you lose it. You have the Hellbat Suit, which lets you kind of, gives you wild action. Superman can use it if Lois Lane's in the game, and she's able to wear it for movement from the comics. And then they did a nice little meta thing here. They did the Bat Shark Repellent Spray as one of the options from the old 50s movie.
Oh, man.
It gives you just a little action. However, if you're playing a shark character, it lets you do something even more powerful than. So if King Shark's in the game and you have Bat Shark Repellent, it actually makes you more powerful against
That's awesome.
him. Then, after that, excuse me. After that, we have our most recent completed Stretch Goal of Captain Boomerang, another just kind of silly hero, robs banks and stuff. He's a purple hero, so he can be in Suicide Squad. He's in Suicide Squad also as well. And he can do good or bad depending on how you want to play him. And then what we're currently waiting for is Bizarro. Bizarro Superman. He's basically a bad clone that Lex Luthor created. Bizarro actually wants to be a good guy. He wants to be like Superman because he's a clone of him, but he's just horribly done. So he has a lot of the powers, but he has no patience or self-control of his powers, so he ends up doing things wrong. And he does a lot of things backwards. So in this game, everything's backwards. He actually, as a villain, so in the game, you got to do certain things for the villain to become from normal to under pressure. And when the villain's under pressure, you can actually attack him. Mm-hmm. So you got to, rescue people or knock out thugs if you're not familiar with the game. And then there's three objectives. When you get two of them, the villain's under pressure. And now he goes faster through his deck, but you can now attack him and win the game. In this game, Bizarro starts under pressure. So he's doing 2 cards, and you can attack him. But then he goes to normal after the fact. He's also running around trying to save people and knock out thugs. And if he does his 3 missions, he's got missions just like we do. So, we have the 3 missions. If he completes the 3 missions, he loses, which means we lose because everything's backwards in this game. So a lot of stuff is just backwards in the game. So that's kind of cool as well. So that's really just, again, another cool spin using the mechanics.
That's really neat.
Then we have kind of 2 more expansions. I'll talk about one. One is the Arkham Asylum Breakout. That's finally what a lot of us, I've been waiting for. Mm-hmm. It's like, when are these bat villains coming? So in this one, you've got a lot of the best famous bat villains. I should say famous, at least. Two-Face's in it. The Riddler. The Penguin. The Scarecrow. Poison Ivy. Killer Croc. And then, of course, it comes with some heroes. You've got, spoiler, you've got Robin, the Damian Wayne version, which is Batman's actual blood son. And then you've got the Batman armor, that really thick armor, if you've ever seen it. They kind of show it in Batman vs. Superman, the movie. Mm-hmm. That's in there. And then Batgirl, the Cassandra Cain version. If you're doing this crowdfunding, in that expansion, you'll get, if you do it a part of this, you're going to also get Man-Bat and Mr. Freeze. So, again, just a bunch of villains to play out with. But this game adds Breakout mode.
Yeah, did you see that?
I saw Breakout
mode. My goodness.
So in Breakout mode, you take the role as the villains, and you're trying to escape Arkham Asylum, and Batman's the bad guy in this version of the game, trying to stop you all from getting out of it. I thought that looked cool.
That was really, really neat. And the game plays as the hero, right? So yes. They have their own master plan, and they're trying to put you back in jail while you're trying to escape. And I thought that was really, really awesome. And some of the heroes there is the Batman antagonist, obviously, but you also have Superman as well.
And Flash.
And the Flash.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So they're the ones you're playing against in this game.
Yes, that is so cool. And of course, again, they're trying to be the good guys, right? And they're obviously trying to get you locked up. But I love, if you notice on some of the pictures here that they give us, there's a new symbol on the card. There's a brand new symbol on a playable card there. I don't know what it is. But all I know is that the locations are blueprints of the asylum, which I thought that was very smart and brilliant. I love how the cards are. Like, look at that. That is very new and different than what we're used to. I love the idea of, playing as literal bad guys against the heroes. Like, that is really cool to flip it upside down like that. I really do appreciate that little thing there. I honestly, I didn't expect much. I just expected this game or this, expansion to just kind of be normal. But then they bring out something with this mode that by far I think is the best one. I think this is literally the best mode that they've come out right now. Like, I don't think there's a comparison to it. I think the suicide mode is awesome, but this one truly just gives it a different twist.
It's one of the best modes they've had, honestly.
Yeah.
In all the games.
In all the games,
that we've seen so far. Just to get into it just briefly, I know we're going to come back to this, but just to mention, I do like the Two-Face character in this, because a lot of his cards, when you're going against him, and even when you're playing as him in Breakout mode, depend on the flip of a coin. And the base game comes with a cardboard, but if you back this campaign, you're going to get a metal coin, and the one side's normal, the one side's scarred, and you got to flip that coin to see if he's going to, for example, does he kill the civilians, or does he turn thugs into civilians? So the game's going to be crazy depending on how that coin flip goes every time. And if you're playing as him, it affects how you play as well. which I think
that's
is going to be
very
pretty
neat.
cool. So that's a pretty awesome expansion, really.
No, it is. And also, just another quick note, too, Poison Ivy. It's really neat how she's going to play. You're going to need a lot of heroic characters on her side because her henchmen are only dealt by heroic symbols, including one of the amazing henchmen is Controlled Superman. It's literally Superman under Poison Ivy's control, and it says there deal 2 damage to each hero in this location and 1 damage to a hero in adjacent locations.
On a
a BAM. It also says at the bottom, Controlled Superman can also be defeated by a hero spending 3 heroics in his location in a single turn. And she's basically just going to be more elusive the more you try to defeat her and get through. So that's just one character, obviously, right? That's just one, but just such a cool way.
Into that. That's going to be so cool to go into.
Obviously, and of course, Killer Croc and Scarecrow and it's some good stuff on that expansion. Obviously, that is just I'm so excited about that. Honestly.
And then really the last expansion we have not talked up to this point with us being out was they did announce a Sidekicks expansion. Sidekick expansion comes with 4 sidekicks. It also comes with sidekick decks for each one of these sidekicks, but also some of the other quote-unquote sidekicks in the game. So the sidekick figures that come in the game are Ace the Bat Hound, which is Batman's dog, I guess. Detective Chimp, who is kind of his own thing. Deckstar, which was actually a Red Lantern kitten, and Chip, which is a Green Lantern chipmunk. And basically what these do is these sidekicks can go with you in the game. They don't run separate. They're part of your character. They come with 3 cards. You put those in your deck. What they do, though, is you can let them move once free per turn, but they can also move with you so that if, certain things you get, if you're alone, at a location, you take damage and stuff like that. If you have the sidekick with you, you're not alone. And then it came with decks for other sidekicks in the game. So there's a deck for Alfred, a deck for Gleek, a deck for Crypto, Superman's dog, a deck for Commissioner Gordon, deck for Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Robin. So there's deck for all these sidekicks. So that's in there as well. So that's a lot of the content. Mm-hmm. There's been a couple of other things we haven't discussed. So the painting compendium came out to give you guidance on how you could paint these characters. There's now thicker, better cardboard villain dashboard instead of that really thin card stock that they come with in the game. Cardboard locations, which are thick. Plastic tokens instead of the cardboard ones. Which for the core box and for the extra.
Which do last a little longer. I've noticed from the first set that we have, from the first Marvel United to probably the cardboard locations, I can see why having the cardboards, if you're interested, if you have the space, obviously, it can be a lot better because over time, depends where you live, maybe the humidity or something like that, it starts to kind of curve just slightly, but it can be kind of, you're like,
if you're OCD about it,
there you go.
If you're not, we haven't had problems playing.
Not that much. No, not crazy problems. No,
it's bowed so much that the stuff's falling off.
Yeah,
characters on it. But the first Marvel United probably came out a good 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years,
almost 5.
Almost 5.
So depends how you want on those things, but they are the cardboard locations are $30. The cardboard dashboards are $30. So
yeah.
Depends if you're going to really add those things.
I have also seen it as well. I've seen it in game stores, local game stores. They've seemed to have just a random expansion there and the cardboard locations. So you don't have to get it or you don't have to add it. But if you want it later on, it's likely you'll probably see it at a game store. I've seen it anytime, the last couple of times we've gone to some. So very interesting there.
Yeah. Definitely.
So what are your final thoughts there about the campaign? What are you most excited about? Maybe the newest stretch goal that you've liked, the expansions, what you liked?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the campaign. I knew they would get there. I thought this one was a little, and I don't know if it's just, the MCU is so popular right now, and even myself, having done some of the comics when I was younger, maybe just a little bit more aware of some of the MCU characters. I thought this one was kind of a slow burn. but we got there. I mean, $2 million on a kick-started campaign,
awesome.
a crowd-funded campaign, I should say, which is on GameFound as a reminder, so on Kickstarter. I thought it's been a good campaign so far, and it's pretty late, so I know I'm missing probably some characters that I know they're holding back for the end. Right now, I'll be honest, probably the number one thing I'm excited about, other than being able to get your hands on Superman Batman, is that Arkham Asylum expansion. That just, all those crazy villains. I always like the Batman villains. I think being able to do the breakout mode against Superman and some of that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I think that's really what I'm probably the most excited about right now.
I have to agree with you there. I think it'll be very exciting to try out the breakout mode. Love the villains and the characters in that box. I also like the idea of unlocking Bizarro. I think that would be very funny to play everything backwards, and that's just amazing. And also just to keep on track from this campaign, where of course $1,934,343. That is fantastic. Compared to the least campaign, though, the least money-making campaign was the first ever campaign, which made
$2.8 million.
2.8 million, excuse me.
But we still have 3 days to go.
No, absolutely.
And people are going to come back and jump
it's just,
in.
It's just very funny, right? Yeah. You think, oh, well, we haven't gone that far, but to think that's the lowest. The X-Men campaign, just so everyone knows quickly, 5.4 X-Men United, excuse me, 5.4 million. Think about that, 5.4. I don't think I've seen a Kickstarter that big.
Yeah, there's been.
Oh, excuse me, no, not 5.4, 5.9.
Yeah, the
million.
Kickstarters that have been bigger
man.
this week, so we don't get a rush of info in case people know. Gloomhaven did almost 10 million.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, never mind.
Excuse me, I think Frosthaven did almost 10 million.
Wow, that's crazy.
So it's got the record for the biggest crowdfunded on Kickstarter.
On Kickstarter, so, yes.
But yeah, $2 million for a crowdfunded campaign. I don't care who you are. It's still an amazing number for CMON, and congratulations to them and the designers. And there's no doubt this one's going to get over 2. Let's do it right here, right now.
Yeah.
What's your prediction? Final number.
Well, I think
2 point what? 3 point what? 1 point what? We'll round it to the nearest 100,000.
They have 3 days left. I'm sure they have some other big expansion and the all-in pledge. I think they'll get to 2.5.
Okay, so that's saying every backer, adding backers. Okay, 2.5. Yeah. That's about where I was going to go. I'm going to take the under on that.
Okay.
I think we might come in a little under, maybe 2.3, 2.4. But I hope I'm wrong. I do. I'm kind of I'm wondering if anybody's feeling United fatigue a little bit.
Yes.
We just are going to be getting the multiverse one, and then you're plopping down. But what I like about it is who cares? Get what you want. You don't have to do the all-in. If you just like Batman characters, get the base packs, get the Gotham City box, get the Arkham Asylum box. You're going to get all these characters in the kickstarting or in the stretch goal part. Fine. If you've got the means and you want to get it all, get it all.
Get it all.
Some people shake when they're missing that one box, right? So, but it's just fun to have access to the characters. And
it is.
And, I've even seen where people eBay one-off characters, so you can maybe you don't want to get all these characters, but you want that one, somebody's going to sell it. So
absolutely.
But jump in. Get involved. Be part of the campaign. At least get in that base pledge. For folks listening to this, you're obviously interested. It's a fun game. It's a game you can play with your family. Obviously you're older now, but I got 2 little kids, other little kids. We've got I've got nieces and nephews. Everybody likes this game. It's simple. We've got other family that never play board games, and
never.
One of them went out and bought
everything
one and played it to death.
Yes.
So it's a really fun time, and it's got so much variety because you just got all these games, and now there's new modes. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I kind of stutter at times explaining games to people or explaining rule books as well. That can sometimes be the hardest part for me trying to teach it. Not that I can't understand the rules, I do. It's just teaching it is something else and trying to explain it in the most simplest way so the player can understand it. But with this game, it's one of the top probably the top game that I can teach to somebody in under 5 minutes and start to play and have a blast. And again, our family members, everything like that, they've loved this game. So obviously, playing with Batman and Superman will add some new excitement as well. And we'll continue the conversation in a future episode, talking if we have enough Marvel United or the United campaign. If we just have enough, is it over? Should they stop or should they keep on going? We'll share some more detail into why or why not.
Yeah, and there's plenty of stuff missing in DC. There's the War of Light campaign with all the different lights. The red lanterns, the orange lanterns, the blue. I mean, there's so much out there.
Is Sinister out there? He's not out there, is he?
Sinestro? I haven't seen him yet.
Right?
I don't. Well, yeah, he's in the Green Lantern box.
No, Green Lantern box is only for the heroes. Okay, it's only a hero box.
So there's stuff there. We could have a War Light box. I don't know if anything's going to be bigger than that Arkham box. So
yeah,
people are going nuts over that. That's driven up the campaign. So anyway, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great time here explaining a little bit more about the campaign, what's been going on again on GameFound. You can search up there, DC Superheroes United. On future episodes, we still got 3 more days left, so that means 3 more guaranteed episodes to talk about more about our opinions, go more in depth with the campaign, and see what new things have come to light. We also, in the future, Gen Con is coming up very soon. We'll give you, maybe not live updates, but you know what I mean. We'll give you day-to-day updates on our experiences, our, fun sort of gaming days that we've had there, maybe the designers we've met, the questions we've asked, so on and so forth. So that'll be very, very exciting. And we'll try to play all of the games we possibly can, and then review them for all of you, obviously, right? We'll try. That's a lot of work, but we'll do it, obviously. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you had a great time listening to today's episode. We hope that we could provide you more of the same content in the future. Please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Spread the word as well. If you enjoy us and enjoy our opinions, please spread out to everyone that we're here and we love to talk about board games, and we would love to share our opinions to see if the game is right for you. Please like today's episode as well. Help us keep on going, and we'll see you all on the next one. Take care.
Adios.